Hi Rima, good afternoon dear Aldona. Hello friends who came to see and chat with us. Learn something edible for yourself. Anton Rubenstein was asked, what was the most difficult thing when he was learning to play the piano? He said, paying for lessons. And here we are happy to see you all, dear friends. And we continue our series of shows, how to help yourself from depression with music. And today we invite you enjoy the pre-Christmas processes, videos, funny stories, anecdotes and funny situations that we will tell you today. You must have noticed, we dressed festively and therefore it will be interesting. There will even be dancing to keep you a secret. Our topic is funny stories from the lives of composers and musicians, and there's this notion that music, classical music, it's serious, and there's this notion that those people were also very serious. And Beethoven and Bach and Vivaldi were very serious people. I have to tell you, they were two people and they were wonderful people. As wonderful as their works. Without these works it is impossible to imagine our life. How can you live without music at all? But these serious people had an extraordinary sense of humor. They could communicate very interestingly with their opponent, with humor. And today we will tell you what funny situations happened with them. And we will tell you how musicians know how to joke through music. And now we will start with the composer whom everyone knows, Antonio Vivaldi. It's interesting that Antonio had a serious illness from birth. His chest was tight and he had asthma all his life. He suffered from breathing problems and could not climb stairs or walk. But physical disability could not harm the inner world of the boy. His imagination knew no bounds. His life was no less colorful than other children. He lived in music. His father was also a musician and his first teacher. But because of his son's poor health, the father decided to make him a priest. And that's why Antonio became a great composer. Antonio Vivaldi was very funny and humorous. And his nickname at a solid age was Red Priest. He had red hair from birth. That's how he was nicknamed Red Priest. And here's an interesting incident from Antonio's life. Antonio Vivaldi. It's just interesting and funny. He was quite shrewd in money matters. And tried to steal something that is badly placed. Once he ordered Antonio to buy a harpsichord. And 60 ducats were given to Antonio from the account. He got a discount and bought it for 30 ducats and took the other 30 for himself. They tried to punish him, but he was already a composer known throughout Europe at that time. And he got away with it. Here is such a small fragment from his life. And now about Paganini. Many must know that Niccolo Paganini, I will not say that he is a wonderful violinist. And not all people know that in childhood Niccolo's father was very strict and wanted to make him a virtuoso. His father used to lock him in the cellar with a violin and make him play. But he did not want to study, he was still a boy. And Niccolo Paganini out of anger used to repeat those sounds he heard to others, for example the crowing of a rooster. He could hear the pig squealing and he would echo it on the violin. And the father was angry. What is he doing? How can he reproduce such things on such a venerable instrument? And because of this, Niccolo Paganini became the most famous violinist. And you know what's most interesting? His attitude towards money. He was very rich. He could give whatever he had at that moment to any beggar he met. And he took off many pings from the rich. And when he became a famous violinist, he was often sent invitations to guest parties. And at the end of the invitation, This is a clear fact. He always wrote, "Don't forget to take the violin." And Paganini always replied, "Thank you very much for the kind invitation, but my violin doesn't leave the house." But once, being late for a concert, Paganini ordered a carriage and asked him, "How much does it cost to get to the theater?" 10 francs, replied the coachman. "Are you kidding?" cried Paganini. "It was 10 times more than usual." The coachman replied, "No, I'm not kidding. You charge 10 francs for playing one string." Said the porter angrily. "All right," said Paganini. "I will pay you 10 francs if you will bring me to the theater on one wheel." How this story ended we do not know, but it's very interesting. And more, one of Paganini's passionate admirers shouted after the concert, "Maestro, I'm ready to do anything you want, just to be near you." Paganini replied, "That's why you need to become a Stradivarius violin. And then you will always be with me."
Let's